Bolivia Williams died after someone shot her a week ago today in Bladen County. Her boyfriend is in jail tonight, charged with her murder and the murder of her unborn child.
Pink confetti filled the air as Bolivia Monnique Williams beamed with joy, surrounded by loved ones at her gender reveal party. The cake with "It's a boy" written in blue icing confirmed the news. She was expecting a son. She had already picked out his name, Isaiah James. Just 16 days later, Bolivia lay dead on her living room floor, shot multiple times in her own home. Her unborn son never took his first breath. The killer wasn't a stranger who broke in during the night. It wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It was the very man who had helped create that life growing inside her, the father who should have protected them both. What drives a man to murder the mother of his unborn child? How does celebration turn to tragedy in just over 2 weeks? And what warning signs might have saved 2 precious lives? Before we dive deeper into this heartbreaking case, take a moment to subscribe to True Crime Journal and hit the notification bell. Your support helps us continue to share these important stories and could help someone recognize the warning signs before it's too late. Join our community committed to understanding these tragedies so we might prevent future ones. Born on March 10, 1991, in Columbus County, North Carolina, Bolivia Monnique Williams was known for her vibrant spirit and infectious laugh. Friends described her as someone who lit up every room she entered, who approached life with boundless energy and optimism despite the challenges she faced. "Yes, woo! Yes, child." Her joyful voice often rang out in videos she shared on social media, capturing moments of happiness with her children or celebrating small victories in her busy life. Bolivia attended Southeastern Community College, where classmates and professors remembered her strong work ethic and determination. That same drive followed her into adulthood as she pursued entrepreneurial ventures while raising her growing family. But above all her roles and ambitions, motherhood defined Bolivia's life. By 2023, she was a proud mother of 5 children, ranging from 16 years old to a toddler of just 11 months. For Bolivia, her children weren't just responsibilities. They were her purpose, her greatest joy, and the center of her world. Friends described her as a hands-on mom who never missed a school event, no matter how busy she was. She treated each of her children as individuals, nurturing their unique personalities with care and understanding. Her social media accounts were filled with proud posts about her children's achievements and the special moments they shared. Bolivia's days began at 5:30 a.m., preparing breakfast and lunches before waking her children for school. After drop-offs, she tackled household management, budgeting, appointments, and keeping their modest home running smoothly. She turned their backyard into a campsite for weekend adventures, organized homemade birthday celebrations with heartfelt touches, and hosted spontaneous dance parties in their living room. Despite financial limitations, she filled their home with laughter, love, and the kind of magic that money can't buy. Supporting Bolivia every step of the way was her mother, Peggy Blanks. More than just a grandmother, Peggy was Bolivia's rock and trusted confidant. Their relationship wasn't just mother and daughter, it was a strong, unwavering partnership rooted in love and their shared devotion to raising Bolivia's kids. 3 times a week, Peggy would arrive with home-cooked meals and stay to help with bedtime routines. During school breaks, she'd take the older children to her home, giving Bolivia the chance to rest and recharge. Their phone calls were constant, multiple times a day, quick check-ins to stay connected amidst their busy lives. Neighbors often said that Bolivia had inherited her mother's strength, work ethic, and fierce protectiveness, qualities that would serve her children well in the dark days ahead. In early 2023, Bolivia met 31-year-old Niji Devon Leach through mutual acquaintances at a community gathering. Niji appeared warm and thoughtful, always knowing the right thing to say, traits that immediately stood out to Bolivia, who rarely received personal attention amid the demands of raising 5 children. Niji often praised her dedication as a mother, telling her that her maternal instincts were one of the qualities that drew him to her. For Bolivia, who didn't often hear praise for her parenting, this validation meant a great deal. Within just 3 months, the two were officially a couple. It felt like the beginning of a beautiful new chapter. Niji gradually became a steady part of Bolivia's life. He started by getting to know her older children, easing into their routines before becoming a regular presence on weekends. He offered hands-on support, giving rides to the kids, helping with groceries, and even pitching in financially when he could. To many observers, he seemed like a supportive and dependable figure, someone genuinely invested in Bolivia and her family's well-being. It wasn't long before the couple learned they were expecting a new addition to the family. Bolivia found out she was pregnant with Niji's child. At first, she felt overwhelmed. Adding a sixth child to an already full house meant even tighter finances, less space, and more responsibilities. But once the initial shock had settled, Bolivia met the moment with her usual strength and unwavering commitment to her family. Her children had mixed reactions. The youngest didn't quite understand what a new baby meant, while the older ones showed curiosity and even excitement, especially at the idea of helping out with their new baby brother. As her pregnancy moved into the second trimester, Bolivia got to work preparing for the new arrival. She cleared out a corner of their small dining area, transforming it into a cozy, makeshift nursery. From the outside, Bolivia and Niji seemed to share a practical partnership rooted in mutual benefit. He gave the support she deeply needed, while she brought him a sense of family and stability. However, beneath this arrangement lurked troubling dynamics that even Bolivia wasn't fully prepared for. Niji's involvement in Bolivia's life quickly became inconsistent. Some weeks he was fully present, helping around the house, checking in frequently, and playing the part of a supportive partner. Other weeks he disappeared without explanation, leaving Bolivia to juggle everything alone. Bolivia, who had always been deeply invested in her relationships, gave it her all. Niji, on the other hand, kept his emotional distance. Friends began to notice changes in Bolivia. She was altering her appearance to suit his tastes, rearranging her schedule to be more available, and even pulling back from some of her closest friendships. It was clear she was doing everything she could to make the relationship work. Little did Bolivia know there was far more to Niji's controlling behavior. The relationship operated on his terms, with Bolivia often adjusting her behavior to avoid conflict and keep the support he offered her family. Niji showed intense jealousy over her interactions with other men, even her children's teachers. He frequently checked her phone and questioned her whereabouts. He'd stir up conflict, shut down emotionally to punish her, then come back with over-the-top affection once she apologized, often for things that weren't her fault. But it wasn't just Bolivia who suffered. His interactions with her children revealed deeper issues. He played favorites, setting different standards for each child, which led to growing tension at home. When upset with Bolivia, he sometimes withheld affection from the kids as well. Financial control crept in slowly. Niji began by covering bills, then used that support as leverage during arguments. Bolivia's isolation deepened as she skipped family events if Niji couldn't go, gradually cutting herself off from the very support system she needed most. On May 19, 2024, Bolivia and Niji hosted a gender reveal in her backyard, a small gathering of close friends and family. Blue confetti poppers burst in the air, and a cake with "It's a boy" and blue icing confirmed the baby's gender. Bolivia looked radiant in photos from that day, her hand resting protectively on her growing belly. She had already chosen a name, Isaiah James. Those who attended couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Niji's expression told a different story from Bolivia's joy. While he smiled, it didn't reach his eyes. He stood slightly apart as loved ones embraced Bolivia. Guests noticed his distant behavior, minimal interaction, and constant glances at his phone. Bolivia took his quiet demeanor as nerves about fatherhood, but for Niji, the celebration marked a turning point, one where the pregnancy became undeniably real and the weight of impending fatherhood began to sink in. After the celebration, Bolivia started discussing practical matters, adding Niji's name to the birth certificate and potential child support arrangements. But these conversations clashed with Niji's apparent preference to keep the relationship casual and undefined. What happened next would set off a chain of events that no one could have imagined. June 4th began like any other day for Bolivia. She did school drop-offs at 7:30 a.m., attended a 10 a.m. prenatal appointment where she learned her baby boy was developing well, then went grocery shopping. Phone records show 3 calls with Niji between 2:15 and 4:30 p.m. By 6 p.m., Bolivia had a home-cooked dinner ready. Her mother Peggy had taken the 2 youngest kids for the evening, leaving Bolivia with her 3 older children. Voice 3 neighbors reported seeing Niji pull up around 7:15 p.m. in his black sedan. At 7:45 p.m., Bolivia's oldest child left to stay with a friend for a school project. The remaining 2 kids were watching TV in a back bedroom. At approximately 8:33 p.m., police responded to a 911 call from a frantic neighbor. "I just heard 4 or 5 gunshots from next door. It's the house with the blue shutters on Dixon Road." Just 3 minutes later, another call came in, this time from Bolivia's 12-year-old son. "Someone shot my mom. Please hurry. She's bleeding a lot." The dispatcher stayed on the line, guiding him to apply pressure to her wounds. The panic in the boy's voice led the dispatcher to upgrade the call to the highest priority. When deputies arrived at the scene, they made a heartbreaking discovery. Inside the living room, they found 33-year-old pregnant Bolivia Williams suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to her chest and abdomen. Her 2 children, ages 12 and 10, were by her side, following the dispatcher's instructions and doing their best to help. Paramedics worked quickly to stabilize Bolivia and her baby, but when their efforts failed, they made the urgent decision to transport her to Columbus Regional Healthcare System. Despite every attempt to save them, both Bolivia and her unborn son were pronounced dead at 9:38 p.m. The 2 children were brought to the sheriff's office, where child specialists gently interviewed them while awaiting their grandmother. Their accounts revealed key details about the argument that unfolded before the shooting. Police quickly launched an investigation into the tragic incident. At the crime scene, investigators noted blood had soaked through the living room carpet and splattered across family photos on the wall. 5 9mm shell casings were recovered, and the front door showed no signs of forced entry, indicating Bolivia likely knew her attacker. In the kitchen, 2 untouched dinner plates and partially filled glasses suggested the evening had started calmly. Bolivia's purse was emptied on the counter, with her wallet still containing cash but her car keys missing. A broken picture frame displaying a photo from the recent gender reveal lay shattered on the floor. Neighbors provided crucial details during questioning. One reported hearing raised voices from inside the house at around 8:20 p.m., followed by multiple gunshots at 8:32 p.m. Another stated they saw Niji leave the house a few minutes after the gunshots, briefly return inside, and then leave again by 8:40 p.m., driving off in Bolivia's SUV. Armed with these first-hand accounts, investigators knew they had to move fast. Deputies secured the crime scene and issued a BOLO, be on the lookout, for both Niji and Bolivia's stolen Subaru Forester. Investigators began canvassing the neighborhood, collecting doorbell camera footage that captured Niji's arrival and hasty departure. By midnight, a task force was formed to locate Niji. Surveillance was set up at his known residences, workplace, and frequent spots, while Border Patrol was notified to prevent him from fleeing the country. After fleeing Bolivia's home, Niji's movements became erratic but intentional. Traffic cameras captured him running a red light at 8:43 p.m., just minutes after the shooting. He avoided main highways, opting instead for back roads through Columbus County. Gas station footage captured Niji at 9:17 p.m., purchasing a prepaid phone, water, and energy drinks, paying with cash to avoid traceable car transactions. The attendant later noted that Niji appeared calm but kept glancing outside at the vehicle. By 10:30 p.m., cell tower data placed him roughly 45 miles from the crime scene, heading toward South Carolina. Ironically, Niji's bid to cover his tracks only handed investigators their most crucial lead. Niji made 3 calls from his original phone before discarding it in a roadside ditch. Investigators later recovered the phone using GPS data. Instead of continuing south, Niji unexpectedly doubled back toward Wilmington, North Carolina, suggesting he had a predetermined destination rather than fleeing randomly. This route change temporarily confused authorities, but Niji's decision to take Bolivia's gold, 2006 Subaru Forester, instead of his own vehicle, revealed both opportunity and strategy. Investigators concluded that the car theft served two purposes: first, to provide transportation, and second, to make his own vehicle untraceable. The Subaru contained practical resources, including emergency supplies that Bolivia kept for her children, a first aid kit, blankets, and non-perishable food. These provisions extended Niji's ability to avoid public stops. At some point during his escape, he removed the vehicle's license plate and replaced it with a temporary tag stolen from a dealership lot. This switch went unnoticed until after his capture, explaining how he avoided detection by automated plate readers. Inside the vehicle, investigators discovered Bolivia's phone, which Niji had used to delete text conversations between them before abandoning her phone in the center console. The SUV's GPS history revealed stops at an ATM, a discount store, and a remote wooded area where evidence was likely discarded. Niji's physical transformation began about 3 hours after the murder. Security footage from a 24-hour discount store showed him purchasing scissors, hair clippers, a baseball cap, and new clothes at 11:42 p.m. In the store's bathroom, Niji cut off his distinctive shoulder-length dreadlocks, which had been his signature style for years. At 1:17 a.m. on June 5th, approximately 5 hours after the murder, Niji made his only public statement via a cryptic Facebook post: "You love me, but gone thug me." This message became a crucial piece of evidence regarding his mindset. The phrase suggested feelings of betrayal, indicating that Niji believed Bolivia had wronged him despite his feelings for her. Despite Niji's efforts to change his appearance and evade capture, the breakthrough came through a combination of technology and classic police work. Around 5:30 a.m. on June 5th, a convenience store clerk in Brunswick County recognized Niji despite the haircut and clothing changes. Around the same time, investigators uncovered that Niji had reached out to a former coworker, asking for a place to stay under the pretense of having relationship problems. The coworker grew suspicious after seeing news reports and immediately contacted authorities. Then the most crucial lead of all came in, one that would finally bring the manhunt to its end. At 11:23 a.m., Niji attempted to withdraw money from an ATM using his debit card, an electronic breadcrumb that pinpointed his location. Officers quickly tracked him to a Wilmington motel where he had checked in under his cousin's name. At 3:15 p.m., tactical officers apprehended Niji as he returned to the motel room. He surrendered without incident, appearing worn down and defeated. A loaded 9mm handgun was recovered from Bolivia's stolen vehicle, the same firearm later confirmed through ballistic testing as the murder weapon. Prosecutors swiftly filed multiple charges: first-degree murder, murder of an unborn child, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, robbery with a dangerous weapon, and motor vehicle theft. Given the severity of the crimes and his attempt to flee, a judge ordered Niji held without bond. On June 27, 2024, during his arraignment, the district attorney formally charged Niji Devin Leach with 6 felony counts, each carrying the possibility of life in prison or the death penalty. Beyond the charges of first-degree murder and murder of an unborn child, Niji also faced counts of possession of a firearm by a felon based on a 2019 conviction for assault, along with grand theft auto, felony discharge of a weapon into occupied property, and tampering with evidence. On Saturday, June 15, a funeral service was held for Bolivia at Central Baptist Church in Whiteville, North Carolina. It was a deeply emotional gathering as family, friends, and members of the community came together to honor her life and mourn her tragic passing. Bolivia's mother, Peggy Blanks, took on guardianship of all 5 of Bolivia's children, moving them into her small 2-bedroom home while actively searching for a larger space. In a show of solidarity, Regalwood residents held a candlelight vigil that drew more than 300 attendees. Local businesses rallied behind the family, helping establish a trust fund that raised $47,000 in just 2 weeks. Peggy also launched a GoFundMe campaign to seek additional support for the children's ongoing care, funeral costs, and their future needs, ensuring Bolivia's kids have the stability and resources to move forward despite the loss of their beloved mother. Bolivia's tragic story illuminates warning signs we can't afford to overlook. Niji's controlling behavior, checking her phone, isolating her from family, and using financial support as leverage, displayed classic patterns of abuse. His inconsistent involvement, along with playing favorites among her children, revealed his instability and selfishness. The timing is particularly notable. The gender reveal party forced Niji to confront the reality of fatherhood, and Bolivia's subsequent discussions about child support created pressure he wasn't willing to accept. Research shows that pregnancy often intensifies domestic violence, with homicide being a leading cause of death for pregnant women. While we can never know if recognizing these signs might have saved Bolivia, understanding them could help protect others. If you notice a pregnant woman becoming increasingly isolated, changing her appearance or behavior to please a partner, or expressing concern about their partner's reactions to practical parenting discussions, reach out. These conversations save lives. Bolivia Monnique Williams deserved to raise her son, Isaiah James. Her 5 children deserved to keep their loving mother. This case reminds us that sometimes the greatest danger comes from those who should offer the greatest protection. If this story moved you, if you found yourself wondering how to recognize these warning signs in your own life or the lives of those you care about, please take a moment to subscribe to True Crime Journal. Your subscription supports our mission to bring awareness to these critical issues and helps us reach more people with potentially life-saving information. Together, we can work toward a future where stories like Bolivia's become less common and where women can carry and bring new life into this world without fear. Subscribe now and join our community committed to making a difference.